There are various categories of rich people in the Bible, and therefore we must not put all rich people in the same category. There are righteous rich people in the Bible, and there are wicked rich people in the Bible. Now, since I've come into the Messianic faith, and I understand it, how people, they have a fear of riches or fear of wealth. And what they do is they scour through the Bible and find all the scriptures that talk against wealth and talk against riches. And this is what people will do whenever they want to put something down, is that they find all of the negative. But how many of you know that there's a lot of positive? And we must look at it from Messiah's point of view. So let's do this. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were wealthy men, exceedingly rich. The kings were wealthy. David was wealthy, Solomon was wealthy, and all the kings thereafter. There were rich, righteous kings, and there were rich, wicked kings. Being wealthy or rich is not synonymous with being wicked. And we have to be able to distinguish and separate that from the whole. Otherwise, you'll find yourself on the negative side of wealth, despising wealth. And that which you despise, you will not attract. That which you despise, you'll never come into. But you also can't pursue it. You can't chase after it, because that's the wicked side of it. You see, wealth, Jehovah's kind of wealth, comes only through obedience to Jehovah. And that means you got to search yourself all the time. We did the teaching on true biblical prosperity. There is biblical prosperity, and there's prosperity that you find in the Bible that wasn't gained biblically. Look at it. Did that sound right? The way you distinguish a righteous rich man from a wicked rich man is their dependence and testimony of Jehovah. When a man stands and claims to be great and declares that he has made himself great, and because he has made himself great, he can make everybody around him great, with no reference or testimony of Jehovah, then we know where one's greatness comes from. Wicked people, dependence on their own ability, wisdom, and ingenuity. That, ladies and gentlemen, speaks for itself. But the righteous is always dependent on Jehovah. The righteous is always testifying. As a matter of fact, the righteous rich man is very careful to allow somebody to attribute their riches to their abilities, because they're going to turn around and says, well, it's the Lord. Well, praise Jehovah, or praise Yahweh. Or some will say, well, praise the Lord, because they know that he is the one who gave them that ability, not they themselves. For instance, if the rich man obtained his riches by oppressing the poor, taking advantage of the weak, the widows, the fatherless, defrauding workers from their wages, not paying people what they agreed to pay them, greed, being dishonorable, and etc., you can put them in the category of the wicked. The problem with wealth or riches is not being wealthy or rich. It is putting your faith, your trust in your wealth or riches, and not in Jehovah who gives the riches. Moses, when he came and he brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, One of the things that Moses fully understood is that he did not have the wisdom nor the capacity to be able to govern such a people. So he was dependent on Jehovah for his instruction. David knew, he understood, and thus David became a man after Jehovah's own heart. When Solomon took the responsibility of king and the mantle of his father, and when he went and he followed through the wealth that his father had laid up for the single purpose of building the temple of Jehovah, Solomon took that, added to it, built the king a temple, and on the dedication day, the Almighty showed up and asked him, "What do you want?" And what did he say? He needed wisdom to be able to lead such a people. And what is Jehovah's response? Because you have not asked for wealth. Because he could have asked for wealth. We should not put our faith or trust in money or wealth. And this is really what James is saying. So when he says, "Go to now, you rich men," he's talking to people in a specific category. Now, there was a misunderstanding, and Yeshua's disciples didn't fully understand something that he had said. In Mark chapter 10, he says, "And Yeshua looked around about and said unto his disciples, How hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of Elohim?" It's a fair statement. And the disciples were astonished. Why were they astonished? What are you saying? Rich people can't go to heaven? Rich people can't go into the kingdom? They were astonished at his word, but Yeshua answered again and said unto them, "Children, how hard it is for them that trust in riches." See, that's the key word. That's the key word, because people say, "Well, you know, it's harder, it's easier for a camel to enter into the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven." No, rich people enter into the kingdom, those who trust in Jehovah. And so Yeshua clarified, this is what he says, and he answered again. In other words, he continued. They got a piece of the communication, and their response helped him to see that, okay, I need to clear this up for them to say, "Listen, I know what you heard, and your response lets me know that, let me tell you what I'm saying. Don't trust in riches."
For more information, visit www.arthurbaileyministries.com or call 888-899-1479. This program is made possible through financial contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.